Hello good yo-yo people, I'm Nate and this is Let's Talk Yo-Yo. Today we're going to be looking at something a little bit different. Today we're going to be looking at Rain City's new offering of the Raindrop, which is both a counterweight, but also you can set it up, if you have two of them, to be Begleri. So we're going to talk about both of them, so here we go. We're going to actually talk about it as a counterweight first. So I have it set up here with an Elite, G-Squared Elite. I'm not, okay, be kind to me, all right? I'm not a 5A player, okay? But Jeremy had asked me, I actually was really interested in looking at this as Begleri. As you probably, if you watch my channel, you've seen in my last couple videos and so on that I've really gotten into Begleri recently. I'm not great at it. I've only been playing a couple of months, but I've caught in the bug, so to speak. And so I saw that Rain City was putting out a Begleri set that was also a counterweight set, or counterweight as well. Not a set, you know what I mean. But I wanted to try it out, so I contacted Jeremy. I've reviewed a bunch of stuff from Rain City over the year and plus. And so he was kind enough to send me both, and he wanted me to talk about it as a counterweight as well. I will do a little bit of 5A. I'm not amazing at it. Please be kind to me in the comments, okay? That's all I ask. Or don't be, whatever. I don't care, whatever. I can take it. I'm a grown man. I can take it. Before I actually throw it, let's talk about just the construction of it. It is Delrin plastic, so a machine plastic, nice and dense. It's gonna take quite a beating. Comes in 3 different colors. I have the white here. You can, of course, dye this, which is kind of cool. So if you're into that, you can do unlimited sort of possibilities with dyeing, as people have dyed all kinds of Delrin plastic yo-yos. So it also comes in blue and yellow, and so right now, so maybe new colors in the future. You can play it without a bearing, okay? It has a recess here. Oh, let me get it close here. It has a recess here that's without the bearing. All right, I have it set up with a full spec bearing here, but you can set it up this way. Okay, so you have like a little indent pocket there, which is great for Begleri, by the way. So it kind of hides the knot. And then it fits a perfect C-size bearing right in there, okay? And it still has a little bit of height there, so it kind of recesses even still. And then it has this little black, let me see if I can take it off now. But yeah, it actually pops off really nicely. It's not really tight as a bearing, as like some bearing seats would be, right? But you have this little black little stopper here that has a much smaller hole so that you don't have to make this giant. Anyways, it's basically a bead at the end, and then it recesses in and locks in. That's not the right word, not recess, but it locks in to your bearing like so, okay? And then you can put a bearing in there. It also came with a slimline bearing, so if you wanted to add a little less weight, you could do that. So the counterweight on its own, just the plastic, is 8 grams. So you can mess around with the weight there and put it to your liking. I'm gonna play it with the full spec bearing, the full size spec bearing and everything else, so you can see what it's fully capable of. Of course, that bearing is there to aid with string tension. I have a couple counterweights like that. They do okay. I think for this purpose though, it's really nice to have something that gives you some weight variances as well. Of course, with that weight at the end too, so you're gonna have just a different feel on the string throwing that counterweight around. All right, let's go and actually play it. Just throw it around and see how it plays on the string and in the hand and all that stuff. Okay, let's go for it. All right, so first things first, as far as holding it in the hand, that shape is actually really nice for holding for a counterweight. It's gonna just kind of feel really nice in the hand. I feel like a lot of like the dice in more square type of shapes, I don't always like in the hand. Like this is nice. It kind of has, it feels natural. The weight is gonna be really nice on it on its own. I don't know if I would like it with just the counterweight itself without the bearing. I think this is a good weight. The size too, I actually thought it was like, I mean, I looked at some of the specs, but just from pictures and stuff, it seemed bigger than it was, and it's actually a really nice size. It's not too small, which I think will be really good for Begleri. I thought it was bigger than it was, and I was thinking, man, this is going to be a really big bead for Begleri play. But it's actually not that bad. You know, also, you should watch Dylan Kowalski's video on this. He is a much better 5A player than me. And he does double dice from time to time too. And I've noticed that this C-size bearing, it comes out really pretty easily. It's not super tight in there. It stays in there just because of, you know, rotation and so on, and you know, all that science stuff. But if you wanted to play double dice with this, you could, by popping it out here, and you could mess with, you know, the, you know, whatever you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. But you could do that, and you can mess with that if you are into that. Well, of course, you could get two of them as well. And I think Jeremy actually on Instagram had shown how well that works. They kind of stack really nicely as well because of that sort of indented, recessed area where the bearing sits in. So you could put just one on there without the bearing and kind of stack them. So there you go. Let's go ahead and change it up, and let's take it off the yo-yo here. We're going to string it up with the other raindrop that I have, and we're going to make a Begleri set. All right, let's get at it. All right, so welcome back to the section we're gonna talk about Begleri now, the Begleri setup. So you have everything here that came in the box for me. So again, I have two white Begleri. The base weight on these is right around 8 grams, and so it's pretty light for Begleri play. But it's a good size and diameter. It's not a small bead. It's not a mini bead. It's going to be a good size bead, so I think that weight's going to be okay. If you had other things around, you could even use the bearing. You could use that, or the slim bearing, or a couple slim bearings if you wanted to add more weight. But we're going to play it at base level. Also, you'll see here, these are all the different chords that came with it. You can get a thin, it goes from thin chord to medium chord to thick chord. So this is the 550 chord that a lot of players play right now. It doesn't fit as well. You're going to need to kind of tweak it a little bit so that it fits perfectly in there, so that when you're stringing it up. But that's what we're going to try. We're going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. I have this end that's not burnt off. So we're going to, first off, we're going to cut it so that it kind of is at an angle. So I'm going to cut it. Yep, we're going to cut just a little bit of that off too. Now, what you could do this a couple different ways. You could cut the core. You could pull some of the core out and cut that off, and then you'll have a much thinner piece to work with. But the point is, what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to burn the end here. Be very careful, and I'm going to twist it up so that it's more at a point, so that it angles in there a little bit better. Okay. So I got my lighter here. All right. Safety, kids. Safety. 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 Okay, so it's not quite at the point that I want it. All right, let's try that. We'll try to lace it through that way. Since I did it only on one end, I'm going to go ahead and try to lace it through the bottom first here. I think this blue will look really nice too, by the way, with the white. Go. All right, I'm going to go ahead and knot it on this end. This recess here is really nice too for the knot. Just going to do a single knot. Nice and tight there. That's already burned off on that end, and you can see it's nice and flush there. So it's going to hide the knot really nice. You could also just burn off the end and flatten it as well if you didn't want the knot at all. I might do that at a later time. Again, you can mess with this a little bit. Of course, you can mess with the different chord as well. But I like 550 right now on most of my Begleri, so that's what I'm going to play with here. And it does fit, so that was a lot easier that side. All right, let's go ahead and size it up. Let's go. Here we go. Okay. All right. So that weight's actually really nice. Delrin is really smooth. That Delrin has a really smooth feel to it. Really nice and slick. Yeah, I like that. I like the feel of it. It's actually a really nice shape. Still working on ladders. They have a really nice clack sound too. Delrin has that. It's a little bit, just has a different unique feel, right? Than metal does. It just has that, you know. What were those? I think they were just called clackers. Remember those growing up, where you'd kind of like tap them in the middle? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Anybody grew up in the '90s? I think they were just called clackers, right? And you just kind of like just banged them together like that. It's kind of, I don't know. There's got to be a Begleri move that somebody has. Anyways, but that's what they feel like to me, or they sound like rather. Yes, for something like gap transfers and tricks like that, as I'm still kind of learning them and getting better at them, right? Slowly. Begleri is a slow process for me. It's fun. It's been a heck of a lot of fun learning a new skill toy, but man, it's such a learning curve compared to yo-yo. It's like, but that's how it is with everything, right? Just not gonna. I'm 35. It's gonna be hard to teach an old dog new tricks, as they say. I'm happy with it. I think they're really cool. I think you should check them out. They're available all kinds of different places, and they're fairly inexpensive as well. So go check it out. And thanks, Rain City. You're the best. Until the next one, good day and good yo-yo and Begleri. All right. Bye-bye.